The spaceport on Vetra 9 was always loud. Ships came and went, merchants shouted, and aliens of all shapes moved through the busy streets. But through all that noise, one sound cut deeper than any other. It was the sound of a child crying. Rek, a human engineer, paused near a broken cargo gate. He had come to fix a power cable, but the sound stopped him. It was soft at first, a whimper, then louder, a cry. He looked around. People passed by quickly. No one cared. No one even turned their head. Then he saw her. A small alien girl, no older than 6. Her skin was pale blue. She had tiny horns on her forehead and long white hair. Her clothes were dirty and torn. She stood near a trash pile holding a ripped cloth in her hands like a blanket. Her big glowing eyes were full of tears. She looked up at strangers as they passed. "Have you seen my mother?" she asked each one. Nobody stopped. Rek's heart sank. He walked toward her slowly and knelt down. "Hey," he said softly. "What's your name?" She wiped her eyes. "Sela." "Where's your mom, Sela?" She sniffled. "They took her. I was hiding, I waited, but she didn't come back." "Who took her?" "Bad men. In armor. They had guns and nets. She told me to run. I ran, then I hid. I think she's gone." Rek looked around. The marketplace was too busy, too loud, and no one noticed one small alien girl crying near garbage. "Have you eaten?" he asked. She shook her head. He reached into his pouch and pulled out a protein bar. "Here. It's not great, but better than nothing." She took it with shaking hands and began to eat slowly. Rek sat beside her on the metal crate. "You're safe now, Sela. I'll help you." Her eyes widened. "You believe me?" "Yes. And I'll try to find your mother." She looked down. "Nobody else helped?" "Well," he said, "maybe they forgot how to care. I didn't." Just then, a group of guards walked past. Rek quickly stood and shielded Sela behind him. "Trouble?" one of the guards asked, eyeing the girl. "No, just helping a lost child," Rek replied calmly. "She doesn't look like your kind," the guard sneered. "Probably a stray, should be taken in." Rek gave a tight smile. "She's under my care now." The guard laughed and walked on. Sela tugged his sleeve. "They would take me?" "Yes, but I won't let them." She stared at him. "Why?" "Because you shouldn't be alone. No child should." They walked away from the crowd toward the quieter loading zone. Rek guided her to his ship, a small freighter named Wanderlight. He helped her up the ramp. She looked around with wide eyes. "This is your home?" "For now. It moves when I tell it to." She smiled just a little. Inside, Rek gave her clean clothes from the storage, a small tunic and a warm jacket. She changed in the washroom while he made soup. When she came out, she looked different already. Less like a ghost, more like a little girl. "Thank you," she said quietly. He gave her the soup. "Eat slow. It's hot." She ate quietly. Then, after a few minutes, she whispered, "Do you think she's still alive?" Rek didn't answer right away. "I think," he said gently. "If your mother loved you, she's trying everything to come back. But now it's our turn to find her." Sela looked at the stars through the small window. "They went that way," she said, pointing. "You saw their ship?" "I saw the mark on it, I remember it." "What did it look like?" She closed her eyes. "A red hand holding chains, on a black flag." Rek stiffened. He had seen that mark before. "Slavers," he muttered, "from the shadow belt." She didn't understand the words, but she saw the anger on his face. "Is it bad?" "It's worse than bad, but we'll go there." She blinked. "You'll really take me?" "Yes," Rek said. "We leave at dawn?" She got quiet again, then said softly, "You're the only one who talked to me." Rek looked at her and smiled. "Then I guess we were both meant to meet." That night, as she slept in the small bunk wrapped in a blanket, Rex sat alone near the control panel. He pulled up the star charts and searched the shadow belt. If she was right, then her mother was alive, and tomorrow he would begin a journey into one of the most dangerous parts of the galaxy for a child he didn't even know. But somehow, it felt right. He looked back at the sleeping girl and whispered, "Hold on, little one. We're going to bring your mother home." The stars passed quietly outside the ship's window. Inside the Wanderlight, Rex sat at the control panel, studying the screen. The girl's words echoed in his mind. A red hand, holding chains, on a black flag. Rex knew that symbol. It belonged to the Dravik chainlords, slavers feared across the outer systems. They captured families, sold them off to labs or labor mines. He had run into them once before and barely escaped. He looked back at the sleeping girl curled in the small bunk. Her name was Selah, and now she was his responsibility. He wasn't a soldier, not a hero, but something about her made him want to try. Morning came slowly on the ship. Selah woke up, rubbing her eyes. Her stomach growled. "Hungry?" Rex asked with a smile. She nodded shyly. He warmed up some synth eggs and gave her a small cup of juice. As she ate, he sat beside her with a data pad. "You said you saw the slavers' ship. Do you remember anything else?" She chewed slowly, then said, "It had long black wings, the engines were loud, and the people wore masks." Rex typed, on his pad. "That fits, the Dravik use old warships. Big, loud, and ugly." She looked worried. "Will they hurt my mom?" Rex paused. "They haven't yet. If she's strong like you, she's waiting. We just have to find her fast." A few hours later, they stopped at a hidden supply station in the asteroid fields of Orion Drift. Rex had an old contact there, Tarn, a half-cyber mechanic who once fixed bounty hunter ships. The station was quiet. Old machines hissed and sparks flew from open walls. Tarn raised a brow when he saw Rex with a little girl. "Didn't know you babysat," he said with a smirk. "She's not mine," Rex said. "She's looking for her mom. Got taken by the chainlords." Tarn's smirk vanished. "You're chasing slavers? You've lost your mind." "Maybe," Rex said, "but I need to find their last route." She saw a ship. Red hand, black flag. Tarn's face turned serious. "I've seen that one. Came through Sector 7 2 nights ago, took fuel and jumped toward the grave dust line." Rex frowned. "That's outlaw territory." Tarn nodded. "Exactly. If you go there, you might not come back." Selah looked up at Rex. "Are we still going?" Rex bent down and said softly, "We're going. I promised, remember?" She nodded and held his hand tighter. Back on the ship, Rex loaded the new coordinates. The grave dust line was dark space. No law, no rescue. Pirates, smugglers, and broken stations floated there like ghosts. He looked at Selah. "If we go in, we stay hidden. You listen to everything I say. Deal?" "Deal," she said. "And you don't touch any buttons without asking." She gave a tiny smile. "Even the shiny ones?" He grinned. "Especially the shiny ones." As they entered the sector, the ship lights dimmed. The Wanderlight ran silent. No signals, no noise. Only stars and the wreckage of old ships drifting in the dark. Rex used a scanner to search for the slavers' trail. A faint energy signature appeared. A trail left by powerful engines. It led toward a broken moon. "That's it," he whispered. They were here. Selah pressed her face to the window. "Is my mom there?" "I don't know," Rex said, "but we're getting close." Suddenly the ship's alarms beeped. A red light flashed. Incoming scan detected. Rex's eyes widened. "Someone's watching us." He shut off the ship's engines and drifted among the wrecks. He turned to Selah. "Hide in the locker, don't make a sound." She hesitated but obeyed. Outside, a shadow passed near the window. A black ship with red markings, long wings, loud engines. It matched her memory perfectly. Rex whispered, "Found you." The slaver ship passed slowly, scanning. Rex didn't move. He held his breath. Then, just as quickly, the ship turned and left toward the moon's surface. Sela climbed out of the locker. That was them? Yes, he said. They're nearby. Now we know where to go. She looked afraid. Will we fight? Rek paused, then said gently, only if we have to. But first we find your mom. She nodded. Okay. He smiled. You're brave, Sela. She looked down. Mama always said, if you're scared, hold someone's hand. Rek held out his hand. She took it without thinking. Together they looked out into the stars, toward the moon where hope, danger, and answers waited. Rek set a course. It wasn't just about a promise anymore. It was about doing what no one else dared to do. Helping one small alien girl find the only person who ever mattered to her, her mother. The broken moon spun slowly in the dark. Its surface was cracked, like a shattered plate held together by old metal chains. Jagged rocks floated around it. A large station clung to its side like a parasite. Rusted, dim, dangerous. Rek guided, the wanderlight closed, keeping the engines quiet. Beside him, Sela sat in silence, holding a small toy he had given her, a plastic star with little lights. She didn't smile. Not today. That place is bad, she whispered, looking out the window. It is, Rek said softly. But your mother might be in there. Sela looked down. Then I want to go. He glanced at her. It'll be dangerous. You sure? She nodded. I'll be careful. Rek gave her a soft vest with light armor and a small earpiece. You stay right beside me. Don't speak unless I say. If anything happens, hide, understand? Yes. They landed in a shadowy docking bay. No guards, no lights, only old cameras blinking weakly on the walls. The air smelled of rust and oil. Rek and Sela moved through the metal corridors past old crates and broken bots. Every sound echoed too loud. Sela held his hand tight. As they moved deeper, voices echoed from below, low, harsh alien tongues. Rek paused near a vent and peeked through. A cage. Several cages. Inside them, aliens of many kinds. Weak, tired, silent. And one of them, a woman with pale blue skin, long white hair like Sela's. Sela's breath caught. Mama. Rek held her back. Shh, not yet. The woman sat against the wall, chained by her ankle. Her eyes were closed. Her body looked thin and bruised. But it was her. Sela reached toward the vent. We found her. Footsteps. Rek grabbed Sela and pulled her into a side hall. A slaver patrol passed by, tall aliens in black armor, red chain, symbols on their shoulders. One of them stopped, looked around. Rek held Sela tight and didn't move. The slaver finally walked on. Rek let out a slow breath. We'll get her out. Tonight. Back at the ship, Rek opened a hidden compartment in the wall. Inside, tools, stun mines, smoke bombs, things he never used anymore. But tonight he would. Sela sat on the floor, quiet. Are you scared? He asked her. She nodded. But I'm more scared for her. He smiled. Then you're brave. She touched his arm. Thank you for helping me. He looked into her eyes. You helped me too, Sela. I had no one before this. Now I have something to fight for. That night, they returned. Rek snuck through a maintenance shaft while Sela watched the hall from a small hidden corner. Her earpiece buzzed. Stay still. Rek's voice whispered in her ear. She crouched low, heart pounding. Rek reached the cages. He used a small pulse tool to short out the locks. One by one the cages clicked open, but the prisoners didn't move. They were afraid. He knelt beside Sela's mother. Valari? He asked softly. Her eyes opened slowly. Who? Sela sent me. She's alive. She's waiting for you. Valari's eyes filled with tears. My daughter... He nodded. Come, we must go. But alarms blared suddenly. Red lights flashed. Someone had noticed the cages open. Rek cursed. Change of plan. He grabbed Valari's arm, helping her stand. The other prisoners started to move. Guards rushed in, shouting. Sela saw everything from her hiding spot. She wanted to scream, but stayed quiet, just like Rek said. Then, she moved. She pulled out a small smoke bomb from Rek's pack, just like he showed her, and threw it. Boom. White smoke filled the corridor. Rek coughed, pulling Valari through. Then, a small hand grabbed his sleeve. Sela? He said, shocked. I told you to stay. I had to help. He couldn't argue now. Run, all of us, run. The group ran through the smoke and shadows. Rek led the way. Valari stumbled but kept moving. Sela stayed close to her mother, holding her hand. Guards shouted behind them. Blasters fired, but they missed. Finally, they reached the ship. Rek slammed the door shut and jumped into the pilot's seat. Sela, strap in. Valari, sit beside her. Engines roared. The Wander light lifted fast. Slaver ships chased them. Red lights flashed. Not today, Rek muttered. He pulled hard on the controls. The ship spun, dodged lasers, and burst into space. Behind them, the station grew smaller and smaller. They had escaped. In the quiet of the stars, Sela curled up beside her mother. Valari ran her fingers through her daughter's hair, eyes still wet. I dreamed of your face every night, she whispered. I missed you, Mama, Sela said softly. Rek watched them from the front, his heart full. They were safe. But the journey wasn't over yet. The Wanderlight shot through the stars like a streak of fire. Behind it, 3 black ships followed, each marked with the red hand and chain. Inside, Rek kept both hands tight on the controls. His eyes never left the screen. They're still on us. Sela sat beside her mother, both strapped into the co-pilot seats. Valari looked pale, her breathing shaky. How bad is it? She asked. Rek didn't lie. Very bad. The slaver ships were faster, newer. One hit from their weapons would tear the Wanderlight apart. Rek had only one thing on his side: experience and guts. He turned to Sela. Get ready. If we don't shake them soon, I need you to hide. I'm not leaving you, she said firmly. Valari tried to sit up straighter. She's braver than I ever imagined. Outside, the first blast came. Boom! The ship shook hard. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Rek's hands moved fast. Shields are low. One more like that and we're dust. He flipped a switch. Engaging stealth thrusters. Let's disappear. The ship darted left, swerved into a thick field of floating metal, the remains of an old war fleet. Twisted ships, burned hulls, dangerous space. But perfect for hiding. The slavers followed. Of course they don't quit. Rek growled. Sela looked at her mother. Will they take you again? Valari grabbed her daughter's hand. No, never again. The ship twisted through the wrecks. Then, another blast. This one hit the back engine. Boom! The ship spun out of control. Alarm screamed. Rek slammed a button. Emergency stabilizers on. The ship stopped spinning, barely holding together. But now, they were trapped, floating. No power left to run. And the slaver ships were closing in. Rek stood. We have one chance left. An old escape pod. I'll send you both. No, Valari said. We stay together. You'll die, Rek snapped. They'll kill all of us. Then, Sela spoke. I can stop them. Both adults looked at her in shock. What do you mean? Rek asked. Sela stood slowly. Her hands were shaking. They marked me. When they caught Mama, they touched me with their tech. I feel it. I can feel when they're near, and I think I can talk to it. Valari's eyes widened. You're an echo touched. Rek blinked. What's that? Valari explained. Rare children born with echo energy. They connect to machines, read signals. Some even control systems. Rek stared at Sela. Why didn't you say anything? I was scared, she whispered. But I'm not anymore. She stepped forward, placing her small hands on the control panel. Her eyes turned bright silver. The ship lights flickered, then glowed. Outside, the slaver ships paused. Their systems blinked wildly. One ship's weapons jammed, another spun in place, out of control. Rek watched the screen in shock. She's doing this. Sela stood quietly, hands glowing. She was inside the system now, not just the Wanderlight. But their ships too. I see their signals, she whispered. They don't know I'm here. Valari looked at Rek. She can send them false data. Rek grinned. Then do it. Sela concentrated. She made the slaver ships see false images, asteroids, mines, friendly fire. One ship turned and shot the other by mistake. Boom. The second ship exploded. Rek whooped. Yes. The third ship turned around and ran. Sela collapsed. Rek caught her. I'm okay, she whispered. Just tired. Valari held her close. You saved us. With the slavers gone and power restored to the core systems, Rek restarted the engines. The ship limped toward the nearest safe zone, a hidden orbital station where refugees were welcome. Inside, silence filled the cabin. Then Sela spoke. Will we be safe now? Rek looked back at her and smiled. For the first time, yes. That night, they landed. Safely, doctors checked Valari. She would recover. Sela rested in a clean bed for the first time in weeks, and Rek. He sat alone for a moment, breathing deeply. He wasn't her father. He wasn't even a soldier. But today, he had been enough, and he wasn't going to leave them behind. Not ever. The station orbited a peaceful green planet. It wasn't fancy. The walls were old, the lights flickered, but it was quiet. Safe. Refugees came here when they had nowhere else to go. Valari sat on a soft bed for the first time in years. She had a clean bandage on her arm. Her wounds were healing, and so was her heart. Sela stood by the small window watching the stars. She looked different now, still small, still young, but her eyes no longer held only fear. They held hope. Rek entered the room carrying a small tray. It had warm bread, soup, and 2 cups of fruit water. Sela turned and smiled. You brought my favorite again. Rek grinned. I didn't know it was your favorite. It is now, she said. Valari chuckled softly. You spoil her. She deserves it, Rek replied, placing the tray down. They ate together in silence. A soft kind of silence. The good kind. Later that evening, Rek stepped outside into the station's common garden. There were fake trees, tiny birds, and benches with broken paint. Still, it was the most peaceful place he'd seen in a long time. Valari joined him. She's asleep, she said. Rek nodded. She's strong. She's alive because of you, Valari whispered. Rek looked at the stars. She saved us too. I didn't know what she was. An echo touched. I didn't know either, Valari said. I thought the power skipped her. Does it run in your blood? Valari nodded. My grandmother had it. But they're rare now. Some say the slavers hunt them. Rek's jaw tightened. If they find out about Sela, we can't let them. Silence again. Then Valari looked at him and asked quietly, What happens now, Rek? Where do we go from here? Rek sighed. That depends. I have a ship. I can take you anywhere. There's a colony on Virel 3, families, farms, schools. She smiled a little. A normal life? He nodded. It's not perfect, but it's safe. Valari looked down. Sela would love that. She deserves peace. You too, she said. Rek chuckled. I don't even remember what peace feels like. The next morning, Rek found a small apartment for them on the station. It had only 2 rooms, but it had clean beds, real food, and no chains. He watched as Sela ran through the hallways, chasing other refugee kids. She laughed. Valari watched too. I didn't know she could laugh like that. She's healing. So am I. They stood at the door in silence. Then Valari looked at him. You saved both of us, Rek. I want you to stay. He blinked. Stay? She nodded. With us. You want me to live here? I want you to be part of her life. Part of mine. He looked away. I'm not the kind of man you deserve. I've seen war. I've done things. Valari took his hand gently. I don't care about your past. I care that you gave my daughter a future. Rex swallowed hard. I'll stay. But peace never lasts long. That night, Rex checked his ship's messages. One new file blinked on the screen. Tracking beacon detected. His heart dropped. He opened the report. A small device, hidden deep in the ship's cargo wall, was sending out a signal, and the signature was clear. Dravik Chainlords. They had been tracked. They weren't safe. Rek rushed out of the ship and ran to the apartment. Valari opened the door. Rek, what's wrong? He closed it behind him. They know. The slavers. They planted a beacon. Her eyes widened. They're coming? Maybe not now, but soon. We need to leave. Sela stood behind her mother, holding her toy star. Again. Are we running again? Rek bent down to her level. Not running, kiddo. Just moving smart. She nodded slowly. Valari touched his arm. Where will we go? Rek answered without pause. Virel 3, the colony. They won't expect us there. And then we build a real home. Valari looked down at Sela. Sela smiled. Home with you two sounds good. That night, the Wanderlight took off again, this time, not as a ship of war or rescue, but a ship of new beginnings. Rek watched Valari and Sela sleep peacefully in the cabin. For the first time, he felt something deep in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. Family. But he also knew one thing clearly. The Chainlords wouldn't give up. And if they came again, this time Rek wouldn't run. He'd protect them, with everything he had. The colony on Virel 3 was beautiful. Tall, silver trees reached for the sky. Bluebirds sang sweet songs. Children laughed and ran through wide fields. The people smiled. No one asked about the past. For Sela, it was paradise. She had a small bedroom with a window. She had her first real school. Her teacher said she was quiet but smart. She made 2 friends. And she had her mother again. Rek and Valari worked in the farming towers. Simple jobs, honest work. It felt like peace. But deep inside, Rek never stopped watching the skies. One evening, Sela stood by the pond at the edge of the colony. Her bare feet touched the soft grass. She stared at her reflection in the water. Then, the air around her changed. She looked up. The sky shimmered. Something buzzed in her head, like voices but far away. She held her hands out slowly. The water rippled, though the wind was still. Then her fingers began to glow faintly. Blue light danced between them. Sela gasped and pulled back. The glow faded, but she knew what it meant. Her echo power was growing. She didn't tell her mother. Not yet. Instead, that night she quietly went to Rek. He was fixing a small light panel in their kitchen. Rek, she asked softly. He turned. Hey, kiddo, what's up? I need to show you something. They walked outside, into the dark field behind their home. She raised her hands again. This time, calm, focused. Light shimmered at her fingertips. Rek's eyes widened. When did this start? Few days ago. It's getting stronger. He looked serious. You told your mom? Sela shook her head. She worries too much. You're not wrong, Rek said, then crouched to her level. But this power, it's not just a trick, it can be dangerous. I don't want to hurt anyone, she whispered. You won't. Not if you learn control. He stood and thought for a moment. I knew someone once. An echo touched. He taught me a few things. Maybe I can teach you. Sela smiled. You're going to be my teacher now? Rek smirked. Guess I'm the lucky one. Every night after work, Rek trained her. He showed her how to breathe slowly, how to focus her thoughts, how to listen to machines, not with ears but with her echo sense. Soon, Sela could sense the power flowing in lights, doors, even birds with tracking chips. She began turning lights off with her hands, lifting stones, and once, she made a broken farming drone fly again. Valari noticed the changes. Her daughter was stronger, braver, glowing from the inside. One night she walked into the room during a lesson. Sela looked up, scared. I'm sorry, Mama. But Valari just walked forward and hugged her tight. I'm not afraid, she whispered. You're my daughter, whatever you are. I'm proud, Sela cried in her arms. Rek quietly turned away, smiling, but the peace didn't last. 2 weeks later, the colony communication tower caught a signal, encrypted, broken. Rek listened in silence. It was a voice. Faint, but familiar. Find the girl. Red hair, silver eyes. Echo touched. Bring her to the tower. Rek froze. It was a slaver's voice. They were searching again, and they knew she was alive. That night Rek sat with Valari. We need to prepare. They found us? She asked, eyes wide. Not yet, but they're close. Sela's power might be pulling attention. I think something bigger is happening. What do you mean? She's not just any echo touched. She's powerful, more than I've seen. That message said, bring her to the tower. Valari's face went pale. The tower. That's where they experimented on gifted children. Rek nodded. They want to use her. Then we can't let them. We won't. The next morning, Rek took Sela to the colony's old observatory. They climbed up high above the clouds, just the two of them. He handed her a small necklace, a circle with a crystal in the center. What is it? She asked. Something to help you focus. It's bonded to your signal. If something ever goes wrong, press it. I'll find you. She looked at him with big eyes. You really mean it? I promised your mom once, Rek said quietly. But now I promise you, no matter what happens, I will always come for you. She nodded and hugged him tightly. That night, something moved in the sky. A ship. Small, silent. It didn't land. It only scanned and left. But Rek saw it. They were being watched. And next time, the enemy wouldn't just scan. They would strike. The winds on Varel 3 were strong that morning. Dark clouds covered the sky. Trees bent. The air felt heavy, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Inside their small home, Sela stood by the window. Her hand touched the glass. Her silver eyes didn't blink. They're coming, she whispered. Valari turned from the kitchen. What did you say? Sela looked at her mother, calm but firm. The ship from last night. It marked us. I can feel it. A storm is coming. Not from the sky, from space. Valari froze. Rek burst in, dirt on his boots. We have to move. Now. A slaver ship just broke through orbit defenses. No warning. The colony leaders are evacuating the children first. Valari's hands shook. They found us. Sela spoke. Again, her voice steady. No. I called them. Rek and Valari both turned to her in shock. What do you mean? Rek asked. Sela looked at the floor. I didn't mean to. When I practiced, when I reached out to the stars, something answered. It wasn't just power. It was them. They felt me. Valari ran to her daughter. It's not your fault. But now they're here. Rek stepped forward. We still have time. I've hidden a ship behind the east ridge, no beacon. We'll leave now. Sela shook her head. No. If we run, they'll follow. And others might get hurt. Valari's eyes filled with fear. Then what do we do? Sela turned, eyes glowing faint blue. I stopped them. The colony was in chaos. Families ran toward the evacuation tunnels. Guards shouted orders. Children cried. But Sela walked calmly. Through the center, her head held high. Rek and Valari followed close behind, worried but silent. They reached the top of the east ridge. In the distance, breaking through the clouds, was a black ship. Its shape was sharp, like a claw. Red lights glowed under its wings. The symbol of the Chain Lords burned on its side. Rek looked at Sela. You don't have to do this alone. I know, she said softly, but I must face it. She stepped forward and raised her hands. The sky shimmered. Inside the slaver ship, alarms rang. She's awake, the captain growled. The girl is activating echo resonance, increased shield strength. A young soldier panicked. Sir, the ship's controls. They're not responding. The engines groaned. The ship tilted. Outside, clouds circled faster, forming a wide storm spiral. Sela stood in the center of the ridge, her eyes bright, hair flying in the wind. Sparks of light danced around her arms. Valari watched, tears streaming down. She's more than I ever knew. Rek touched her shoulder. She's not a child anymore. The slaver ship fired. Boom! A beam of red light shot toward the ridge, but before it could hit, Sela raised one hand. The beam bent and vanished into the air like smoke. Rek's mouth fell open. She redirected a plasma strike. Sela closed her eyes. Her voice rang out, not from her mouth, but from the air itself. Leave, or be broken. The slaver ship trembled. Its lights flickered. A crack formed in its main wing. Inside the ship, systems failed. Sparks burst from panels. The captain screamed, "Retreat! She's too powerful!" But it was too late. With one final motion, Sela thrust both hands forward. A pulse of energy erupted from her body, blue, bright, and wide. It struck the ship like a hammer. Boom! The ship exploded in the sky, raining fire over the empty desert. Far from the colony, silence followed. The storm clouds faded, the wind stopped, and Sela collapsed. Valari ran to her, crying, "Sela! Sela!" She knelt and held her daughter close. Sela opened her eyes slowly. "I'm okay, Mama." Valari kissed her forehead. "You did it." Rek knelt beside them. "You saved us all." Sela looked up at both of them. "Now we're safe?" Rek smiled. "For good." Weeks passed. The colony rebuilt. The people spoke of Sela, the echo girl who called the storm. Some feared her, some respected her, but most loved her. She didn't need to hide anymore. One sunny afternoon, Rek fixed the roof of their home. Valari brought him water. "Nice view," he said, nodding toward the fields. Valari smiled. "Nice family, too." Sela came running from school with her friends, laughing. She ran into the garden and waved. "Mama, Rek, I passed my test." Rek stood. "That's my girl." Valari looked at him. "Our girl." He nodded slowly. "Our family." The past was behind them. The future, finally bright. The Chain Lords would never touch her again. Because this time the little girl who once cried in chain, Mars had become a storm no cage could hold.